Hi, I'm Adrian and I'm a composer based in Oxfordshire. Today I want to talk to you about my clickbaity title. Is there an ultimate way to be a better media composer? Who knows, but this might help. Today we're going to look at using just one instrument to write a short piece of music to picture. And it's a challenge I would certainly urge you to try and do. So as you can see, I've got my Logic session up here. So this piece of footage is from Storyblocks. And we're going to just use this as the example today. And you can get any footage you like. Maybe it's some stuff that you've recorded yourself or a friend has recorded. But if you can write this to picture, it just helps you just get to that next stage of being a better composer. Now the idea of this is that you use loads of different plugins, software to try and manipulate the audio so you can create your own synths, your own drums. Ultimately, it'll make you a much more rounded composer and sound designer. So what have we got going on here? Well, in this Logic session, I'm using the standard out-the-box Logic piano. It's not got a great sound, but you can certainly do stuff with it. So when you start a project, whether that's an advert or a short film, it's always good to know what the piece is about, what you want to do with that piece musically, and what the journey is. I wanted to look at tempo and how we could move the tempo around to create a bit of urgency and tension. So in the tempo map up here, I've gone from 133 from the beginning of the piece to a hit point which jumps to 156. And that's just to raise the heartbeat rate, something's about to happen. And then we drop back down to a very comfortable 120 when we realise that our character isn't in danger and maybe they've just heard something. So what did I do first? First, I decided to look at the drums. And with this, I wanted to create a heartbeat. Now to do that with a piano sample, you have to go into the sample itself, play with the transients, play with manipulating the envelopes until you can get a nice punchy attacking sound, which will still sound like a piano. But as soon as you start putting different plugins on, you can start creating these drum sounds, these synth sounds. So I've been using Sound Toys and I've been using the Kilohertz bundle from Slate Digital. Now with all of this, you can create some fantastic sounds. With the drums, I tend to use presets and then tweak to taste. So here we have Snap Heap from Kilohertz, and I've put on an 808 sizzle, as well as some compression. We've got some work going on here from Sound Toys, a bit more EQ, and a bit more transient designing. I also did a topper, and what I'd call a snare, but really is just kind of like an arpeggiated synth. And altogether, it sounds a bit like this. It is quite hard to believe that it's just a piano, but when you start playing with these sounds, you can really get quite creative. So that's the sort of rhythm section done with. So now we're going to look at the synth. This time I decided to use more reverb, more distortion, and really lengthen out the transients to give this kind of warped sound. Here's an example of a bass synth that I created using this sample. And as you can see, this gave me this preset, and I've tweaked to taste and I added micro shift, and I've been playing around with Drive. I then use Logic Fat FX. This is a really great plugin, and I've used the preset Overblown and again tweaked to taste. Always try out presets before you play around with stuff, because there's some great presets on any piece of software. A bit of EQ. Then I jumped in with the Kilohertz trance gate to make things a bit more interesting and moving around. Some compression, some gain staging, and I used RX for a bit of clipping control. I played around with a few different synth sounds, found some I liked, I bounced some out and chopped this particular sample with the bass drum. so you can get this really cool build. I'd always recommend bouncing out samples, sections of audio, and then you can play with them separately as well. So this, all in all, is the synth section to this piece. So as you can hear, it's quite a spooky bit of audio. And to get that, you want to start adding more reverb, more distortion. I've used a lot of Valhalla Shimmer on this, and also multipass by Kilohertz to get a real kind of modulating synth sound, really quite far away from the original piano sound it was. And that kind of thing can just really add an atmosphere to footage like this. So lastly, I decided to just use the piano in its most basic form, slightly tweaking it, I suppose, to get exactly what I wanted. But all in all, I just used it as a piano sound to just add the final touches. Not too much to tell you about the piano sound, to be perfectly honest. A little bit of delay, a bit more reverb. Lots of reverb. And some tape saturation I can see on there as well. But the piano section on its own sounds a bit like this. So as you can hear, the piano's there for melody, just adds a bit more drama, and as you could see, it really punctuates the hit points in the tempo changes. And that's really what a piano is really great for when it comes to scoring to film. At the end of each of my episodes, I want to do a quick shout out to a YouTuber or musician who I've seen online who I think's super inspiring. And this time round, I want to talk about John Mayer. Not John Mayer the guitarist, but John Mayer the composer and soundmaker. Even says it on his website right here. So John makes fantastic YouTube videos. He's got a great website. He sells his own samples and does fantastic deep dives into different sound libraries and music production. Now, I don't know John personally, but I've been watching all of his videos throughout lockdown, and he's certainly been keeping me sane. So share the love, give him a subscribe, drop him a message and watch his videos because they're fantastic. Nice work, John. So that's where I'm going to leave this today. But I want you to think about this and see whether this kind of technique might help you as a composer. Maybe you want to get more into sound design or editing, or maybe you've just bought loads of plugins and you want to see how they work. This is a great way to do that. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you again. Please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.